Hello. A very warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for waiting. My name is Rachel O'Rourke and I'm the President of the Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra in Australia. On behalf of the Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra, Lama Choe Rinpoche and all the committee members, we thank His Holiness, the 42nd Sakya Trizin, for kindly agreeing to offer this important teaching for all our dedicated students, members and friends. It is wonderful that we could receive this teaching directly through modern technology. As the current head of the Sakya Order of Tibetan Buddhism, His Holiness received this title over 3 years ago from His Holy Father. Since then, His Holiness has travelled around most parts of the world, including Australia. Last year, in 2019, the Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra had the privilege of hosting His Holiness's visit to Australia when His Holiness gave the Vajra cause and path empowerments at Seba and taught the Lamdre Dorchakma, setting many people on the path. Since then, as a follow-up to his teachings, many who are doing the complete path course have been doing the preliminary practices. Since the lockdown in March due to COVID-19, Lama Chodat Rinpoche has been leading online Nondro practice sessions every Wednesday. We would like to report to Your Holiness that many in the audience today have been diligently attending the Nondro practice sessions online each week, creating a true cyber sangha and bringing us all together as one big Dharma family in these volatile times. It is a great honour to have Your Holiness give these teachings on Zoom, highlighting the importance of the preliminary practices. We hope we can continue to do these teachings online periodically for the benefit of all. We thank everyone who has registered on Zoom for this teaching and generously donated. We will be forwarding all the donations to His Holiness's office. After His Holiness's teaching today, there will be a question and answer session which Lama Chodat Rinpoche will moderate. Those of you who have already sent in questions, we will call your names out and give you permission to unmute your microphone at that time. If anyone has any other questions, please type them in the chat box, and if time allows, we will ask them too. Hopefully you've all had a chance to download the one page of prayers we emailed to you. We will start with the Refuge, 4 Immeasurables and prayer to request the teachings. Please join us in these prayers now, or just hold your hands at your heart requesting these teachings. Thank you. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge till enlightenment. By virtue of giving the light, I shall reach Buddhahood to aid beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge till enlightenment. By virtue of giving and the like, I shall reach Buddhahood to aid beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge till enlightenment. By virtue of giving and the like, I shall reach Buddhahood to aid beings.
happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all beings have happiness, and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all beings have happiness, and the cause of happiness, may they be free from suffering, and the cause of suffering, may they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far.
According
To the intelligence and predisposition of each being, we ask that you turn the Dharma wheel of great, low, and common vehicles.
So now I start. 지스무상계 탐제 리병어 자외라마 탐배 샤블라 고송 그베차 차신 접수죠 다긴기 뒤다도 징계라도 소용. So first of all, I would like to say Tashidalek to all the participants. And today, as I've been asked by Lama Chota and his center to give this Zoom teaching on the importance of preliminary practices in Tibetan Buddhism. So, as we all know how important it is for us to develop the right intention or the right motivation. So, our great Master Sachin Kumbh, in his pure vision, he saw Arya Manjushri, and then Arya Manjushri gave him the big instruction, the essence of Mahayana teaching, which is known as departing from the four attachments. And in that teaching, the first line itself says, if you have attachment to this life, you are not a spiritual person. So, if we practice, if we study and contemplate on the Buddha Dharma for the purpose of this life, then whatever we do, it won't be a genuine Dharma practice. And also, sometimes you might think, I need to do practice, I need to accumulate virtuous deeds, and I need to purify non-virtuous deeds because I need to gain merit, because I need to purify my own non-virtuous deeds. So at that time, we have to check whether oneself is doing just for I or myself or for others. If we just think I need to do because I need to gain virtues, I need to gain merits, I need to purify, then it means our practice is depending on self-cherishing thought, and it is not based on the right motivation. So, whatever practice that we do, we should not think just for I or just for oneself or myself. If our practice is based on myself, then not only we cannot do genuine Dharma practice, but even we can't have the name of spiritual person. So, therefore, the great Rinpoche Jaltan, in his Parting from the Four Attachments song, also said, without having attachment to this life, we need to keep the pure moral conduct and practice or listen and study and contemplate and meditate on the Dharma. If we do this with the attachment to this life, then it is not right. So, doing Dharma practice with attachment to this life is like having a good food which is mixed with poison. If the good food is mixed with poison, then no matter how good it is not edible. Even you eat, it will cause great pain and suffering and problems. So similarly, we should practice Dharma with pure intention. if we practice with the wrong intention or with the attachment to this life, then no matter how much we practice, no matter how much effort that we put into the practice, still we won't be able to do a genuine Dharma practice. And in ancient time, during the Kadamba's time, there's one Kadamba, and he was doing a circumambulation. And at that time, the great master Domdamba saw this and advised him, it is good to do circumambulation, but you must practice Dharma. Then this Kadamba thought, what should he do? And then he decided to read the text. And then again, Domdamba said, it is good to read the text, but Dharma text, but you should do Dharma practice. And then later, the same Kadamba did meditation. And then again, Domdamba said, it is good to do meditation, but you must practice Dharma. Then this Kadamba said, this particular Kadamba said, what should he do? Then Domdamba advised him, you must renounce this life. So it means whatever we do, whatever virtues or Dharma that we do, if we are doing with the attachment to this life, still it is not the right Dharma practice, still is not the real Dharma practice. So therefore, it's important to develop the right intention. So in our time, like in this modern time, if we study and if you think, I'm going to study the Dharma so that in the future I can become a Dharma teacher. So for that purpose, if we study Dharma, then it means we are studying for this life. So that is not the right intention. And also, if you want to study so that I can be free from the suffering, or I can avoid the sufferings of the lower realms. So if we practice Dharma based on I or myself, then it is not right. So therefore, it is important to develop the right intention. So sometimes we might think we have met many great masters and received many profound teachings and practicing Dharma for so many years. But just by doing this, it is not necessary that we are real Dharma practitioners, because we have to check what kind of intention that we have when we do all these things in last so many years. So therefore, first, it is very, very important to have the right intention. And to have the right intention, it is important first to have the total renunciation, because Lord Buddha has given so many profound teachings in order to suit the different mentalities. But the purpose of all these precious teachings is to liberate sentient beings from the suffering and to place them on the state of liberation from the samsara or the nirvana, and eventually to place the followers on the state of Buddhahood. So Buddha has not given a single word of teaching for this life or just for this life. So therefore, from our side, from the followers' side, if we just practice Dharma for this life, then it means the purpose of our study and our practice and purpose of Buddha's giving the teaching are two completely opposite to each other. One is to stay in the samsara and one is to go beyond this samsara. So in and out. In the samsara and out of samsara are two direct opposite to each other. So if we want to stay in the samsara, then we don't need to practice Dharma, because the Buddha's teaching is not to stay in the samsara. It is something that will help us to get out of the samsara. So in and out are two direct opposite to each other. So while having the opposite purpose of practice with such opposite purpose, it is impossible for us to achieve a great result from the practice. So, for example, if we are doing something that is against the purpose of our founders, then we are not following it. We are doing something that is against it. So with this, we cannot fulfill our founders, whether it's in sports or politics or business or in any field. If we want to follow the founder, then we must follow the purpose of our founders. If we are doing something against it, then we cannot follow. Or similarly, if we have opposite purpose, then we cannot follow the Buddha in a right way, in a genuine way. So therefore, first, it is important to have the total renunciation. And total renunciation means to generate a sincere wish to gain liberation from the whole samsara. And then based on this, we must practice loving kindness and compassion to all the sentient beings without having any exception. And then based on this, then we need to practice the bodhicitta, or the enlightenment mind, which means for the sake of all the sentient beings, we wish to attain Buddhahood. And for that purpose, we are engaging in Dharma practice in general, and especially we are now practicing the preliminary practices. So if we practice Dharma with right motivation, then it means our virtues will have a greater result, and through our virtues we will earn greater merits, and also our virtues can be the real antidote to remove the negative thoughts and its results, which is none other than the sufferings. And also, through our genuine practice, then we can also receive the gurus and deities and Buddhas and others' blessings in our mental continuum. So right motivation is very, very important. And based on right motivation, then we must do the preliminary practices. So, as His Holiness the 41st Commentator Rinpoche said, preliminary practices or accumulating the preliminary practices is not just a tradition, or it is not just the quantity. The quantity is not the main purpose. The number of recitation is not the main purpose. Actually, preliminary practices we can do through body, speech, and mind, or we can do through physical practice, verbal practice, and mental practice. So we can say preliminary practices can be divided into three. Preliminary practices through body, through speech, and through mind. But the main practice should come from mind, or main one is the mental practice. If you don't have the mental preliminary practices, then just through physical and verbal preliminary practices will not help us to accumulate great merit. And also, just through physical and verbal preliminary practices, we even cannot gain the name of Dharma practitioner. We cannot become a Dharma practitioner. So therefore, the main practice should come from mind, not just through recitation, or not just through sitting in a cross-leg position, etc. So, generally speaking, Dharma practice is a method for us to become a better person, temporarily to become a better person, and eventually to gain liberation and the enlightenment state. So, good person or warm-hearted person or positive mind is something that we cannot buy from shops, or we cannot ask others to make it. So this positive mind should develop by ourselves. Through our practice, we can develop this positive mind. We cannot buy, we cannot order, we cannot ask others to make for us. We should make by ourselves. So the whole purpose of Dharma teaching is to tame our mind and is to develop our positive mind. So to do a genuine preliminary practices, as I said before, first we should have the right motivation, and also we can reflect on the four common preliminary practices. Actually, which one is common and which one is uncommon, depending on different contexts. But generally speaking, common practice means the difficulty of obtaining the precious human life, the impermanence and death, the law of karma, and the shortcomings of the samsara. We should have the cause and effect relationship between our Dharmic knowledge and our Dharma practice. And also, we should have cause and effect relationship between our Dharmic practice and our Dharmic experience. So if we make such connection, then it can really make a great impact on our mind. It can really help us to subdue or tame our wild mind. And actually, Dharma practice is not just for oneself. It's not just for a few people. It is not just for all the Buddhists in this world. So the purpose of doing Dharma practice is for all, which means all the human beings in this world, whether they are Buddhists or non-Buddhist followers, or whether they are non-believers. All the 7.8 billion people, and also all the animals, mainly all the human beings and animals who are in this world, then along with all the beings of the six realms, for all these sentient beings, we should practice Dharma. Physically, it is impossible to help all the countless beings, but mentally, we can extend our positive thoughts to all these countless sentient beings without any exception or or without any exclusion, because mentally we can extend as far as possible, because there's no barrier, there's no demarcations. So therefore, we can extend our positive thoughts, our good wishes to all the sentient beings without any exception. So for all the sentient beings, we should develop the right motivation. And then when we accumulate the preliminary practices, then it can really be a method that can accumulate great merit in a short time. And also it can be the real method to purify our negative and the obscurations. And also it can be the real method to attain the Buddhahood. So all this can happen through our mental preliminary practices. If we just recite the words without visualization, without attention, with distracted mind, if we focus only on the words, recitation of words, then through this we can reach the milestone, or we can reach the number like 100,000. But just focusing on the numbers of reciting the words is not a great benefit. It won't have a great benefit. And through focusing on numbers, we cannot progress on the Buddhist path. So starting from refuge practice, we should, if possible, or ideally speaking, we should count the numbers that are done with the visualization, with the attention, with the concentration. So actually, I'm saying this according to the teaching, and not because I'm doing in such and such way. Although I myself is not a good practitioner, but I'm saying this based on authentic teachings. So according to the authentic teaching, we should not distract our mind from the practice, because number of reciting the words are not that important. The most important is to have the visualization or to have the concentration. Just reciting the words can be done, even the like parrots can also recite Om Mani Padme Hum or Refuge words or Refuge recitations can recite. So actually having many numbers is good, but the most important is to have a number with the visualization. So as His Holiness the 41st Comma Teacher Rinpoche always says, the quality of our practice is more important than the quantity. So we must practice until there's some impact on our mind, until there's some result that we can really feel, like result in a sense after the practice, then we become a better person. Our mental attitude improves. We become less angry. We develop more positive thoughts, and we can reduce more and more negative thoughts. Then it's a sign. It's a sign of improvement. And also, in the teaching, it says there are some signs of like purifying the negative actions. So until these signs appears, ideally speaking, until these sign appears, we must practice. If we can have these signs before having the number, or before reciting 100,000 times, then it's a very good sign. Even we don't have sign within 100,000 times, but try to practice until there is some sign. In our ancient time, there's a great practitioner, Sakya practitioner called Jamgun Ngawan Lekpa. And he did preliminary practices for years and years, for so many years. And he count only those that are with the visualization. So through this, he did refuge with the prostration many 100,000 times. And also, he recited 7 hip mandala, 1 million, 1 million. And all this 1 million is counted that are with the visualization. If he was distracted, then that is not counted. So through this way, he did the Mandala practice, or he did the Mandala practice 1 million times. So in short, most of his life spent on doing the preliminary practices. So it shows how important it is for us to practice the preliminary practice. It shows how important it is for us to do the preliminary practices with a concentration or with a visualization. So until there's something or until there's some sign of improvement, or until there's some signs, until that we need to practice. So for example, we can know how important it is for us to have a solid foundation to build a high-rise building. Based on solid foundation, then we can build a high-rise building. To build a high-rise building, it is very, very important to have a solid foundation. Without the solid foundation, it is impossible to build a high-rise building on it. So, as we all know how important it is to have a solid foundation in order to build a high-rise building. Similarly, we should also know how important it is to do the preliminary practice for us to move forward on the Buddhist path, for us to gain more and more realizations or more and more inner qualities. It is impossible to have realizations without the preliminary practices. It is impossible for us to see a high-rise building without the solid foundation. Similarly, it is impossible for us to gain a high realization or inner qualities without focusing or without putting effort on the preliminary practices. And also, why we have to practice? The answer is, for example, when people are sick, then why it is important to have a medicine? It is very important to have a medicine in order to cure sickness, right? So similarly, it is very important for all of us to practice, because Buddha is like a skillful doctor, and Buddha's teaching is like a medicine, and ourselves, the followers, is like the patient, and our own negative thoughts is like the sickness. And receiving the teaching and practicing the teaching is like receiving the doctor's instruction or advice and following it. So it is important for sick person to have medicine. Similarly, it is important for us to practice Dharma. And when person is sick, no matter who he or she is, we all need to take the medicine. We all need to do the right, we all need to have the right medications. So similarly, whoever we are, we all need to practice Dharma. as a Buddhist, we all need to practice Dharma. So to practice Dharma, as I said before, first it is important to have the right motivation. And then based on this, we need to do the preliminary practice. The first preliminary practice, first uncommon preliminary practice is the refuge. Just having the faith and belief in Buddha will not make us real Buddhists. Just being born in the Buddhist family will not make us Buddhists. Just studying the Buddha's teaching will not make us Buddhists. Just believing in the rebirth and law of karma will not make us Buddhists. Or just having the altruistic thought or just having the wish to help others will not make us real Buddhists. So to become a Buddhist, we must take refuge. We must receive the refuge vow. And to receive a genuine refuge vow, we need to have the right cause and conditions. Only after receiving the genuine refuge vow, we can become a real Buddhist. So therefore, it's important for us to know the reasons behind it and then take a genuine refuge. That is very important. Actually, refuge vow has two main categories: a pure refuge vow and impure refuge vow, or genuine and non-genuine refuge vow. A genuine refuge vow, to have this, first we need to have the total renunciation, because based on genuine total renunciation, we can receive the proper refuge vow. And then it means such refuge vow is the part of Patimoksha vow. Actually, in the Buddhist tradition, all the different vows can be combined into three main categories, known as Patimoksha vow, Bodhicitta vow, and the Mantrayana vow. So all these like refuge vow and novice and fully ordained vows, all these are included in the Patimoksha vow. So to have all these, first we need to have the total renunciation. Based on this, then if we receive the vow in a proper way, then it becomes a genuine vow. And such genuine one is the cause of gaining liberation and enlightenment state, and also it is the right remedy or antidote to remove all the sufferings and the cause of sufferings. And then there are also impure ones, like impure refuge vow, which also has two kinds: the refuge vow taken in hope for worldly results, which means oneself does not have faith and devotion in the Triple Gem, and also one does not have the total renunciation. And also, one does not have the compassion towards all the sentient beings. But one wishes to gain the refuge vow in order to gain happiness for oneself in this life, and to gain more power, or to gain more fame, or to gain more wealth. For that purpose, if you take refuge, if you pray to Triple Gem, and if you take refuge, and if you take the refuge vow, then with such intention, if you take refuge vow, then it is called the refuge vow taken in hope for worldly results. So this kind of vow is not a genuine one. And also there's another impure one, which is known as the refuge vow taken out of fear, which means just as before, oneself does not have total renunciation or faith or compassion, and also one does not have the sincere wish to receive the vow, but one is forced to receive by one's own parents or by one's own family members or by one's own friends or teachers and others. So through such force, if one receives the refuge vow, even one can receive it, but this is to avoid the feeling of sadness for one's own loved ones, to make them happy, to make others happy, and to avoid scoldings or other harsh words or harsh reaction from others. To avoid such, one is receiving the refuge vow. So this is called the refuge vow taken out of fear. So these are not genuine ones. Actually, even we take refuge in the Triple Gem, still there are genuine and non-genuine. And the Triple Gem or precious gem, in Tibetan, we say Gun Chok. Gun means rare, and Chok means excellent. So the literal translation of Gun Chok means rare and excellent. This is my rough translation, rare and excellent. So here, rare. So the example of Gun-Chok is the precious jewels, because precious jewel is not easy to find it. It is very rare to find it. And also precious jewels like diamonds are superior than gold or silver. So they are better than others like gold and silver. So like diamond is rare and also the most excellent precious jewels because it is more precious or more superior than the gold and silvers and others. So that's why like the precious jewel like diamond is called the Gun-Chok. So this is the example. Now the actual meaning here, Gun-Chok refers to the Triple Gem. These are called the three precious jewels. So why it is called? Because the the triple gem can be seen, or we can meet, or we can have this triple gem only to those who have accumulated merit. Those who don't have enough merit, they will not meet with triple gem. Without merit, it is impossible for us to meet the triple gem or to find the triple gem. So it is rare to find the triple gem. And also, not only it's rare, but also triple gem is superior than any other mundane, powerful gods or others. So therefore, the triple gem is rare and also the most excellent object for us to take refuge. So therefore, it is called the Kunchok. So literally meaning is rare and excellent, which refers to precious jewels. But here it means the triple gem, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So taking refuge is very important. Even we take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the right object of refuge. But at the same time, if our intention is very ordinary, if we are taking refuge just for ourselves or just for our own family members or for this life, then still it won't become a real refuge practice. To have a genuine refuge practice, we must have the genuine cause, and then we can have the genuine result of refuge practice. Generally speaking, every cause and condition can produce their own results. So every result depends on their own cause and condition. Without depending on their own cause and condition, there will be no result. So therefore, first it is important to reflect and practice on the cause of refuge, like fear, faith, and compassion. And then we should know the purpose of taking refuge, which is for the sake of all the sentient beings. And then also we should know we are taking refuge from this time until our self attains Buddhahood. So today I won't go through details about the refuge. So anyway, it is important to know these explanations. First, we need to study, and then we should practice according to the teachings. And then bodhicitta. Bodhi means Buddha. Citta means mind. So Bodhi means the ultimate result or the Buddhahood. Citta means mind. So here mind does not mean the mind of Buddha. Here the mind means our mind. So what it means is our mind that generates the wish to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings is called the bodhicitta. So bodhi refers to Buddha and mind refers to our mind that has the wish to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. And there's a great benefit in developing the bodhicitta or in having the bodhicitta. as it is said in the Bodhisattva Avatara by the great Master Shantideva. It says, this is the most excellent medicine that can cure all the sickness of the sentient beings. And also, bodhicitta is like the moon that removes all the darkness of ignorance. And also, it is like the sun. Bodhicitta is like the sun that removes or that illuminates all of it. And also, it is like the essence. For example, the essence of milk is the butter. So bodhicitta is like the essence of Dharma, especially in the Mahayana teaching. The great Master Sakya Pentita Kunkai Gyaltsen Pal Sangpo said in his text called Domsum Rabe that in the Paramitayana teaching, there's no Dharma without bodhicitta. So it means in the Paramitayana or generally in the Mahayana, there's no practice without the bodhicitta. Every Dharma practice of Mahayana tradition should be sealed with the bodhicitta. So the time that we develop the genuine bodhicitta and the time that we receive the bodhicitta vow and the time that we gain the name called bodhisattva and the time that we enter into the Mahayana path and the time that we enter into the path of accumulation according to the Mahayana tradition, all this happens at the same time. So sometimes the practitioners might think, or they are thinking that I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Mahayana Buddhist, but I'm not a Bodhisattva. Sometimes they think Bodhisattva is very, very high, and Mahayana Buddhist is lower than Bodhisattva. So people might think, I'm a Mahayana Buddhist, but I'm not a Bodhisattva. Never, never, I cannot be Bodhisattva. But in reality, one cannot become a Mahayana Buddhist without becoming a Bodhisattva. Actually, Bodhisattva and Mahayana Buddhists are same. It has same meaning. Because to become a Mahayana Buddhist, we need to receive the bodhicitta vow. We need to have the bodhicitta in our mind. Without having the bodhicitta, we cannot become a Mahayana Buddhist. And then bodhisattva means a person who has the bodhicitta is called the bodhisattva. So Mahayana Buddhist and bodhisattva have same meaning. But within the bodhisattva, there are different levels of bodhisattva. Like we called Manjushri and Avalokiteshvara as a bodhisattva, but that level is much, much higher than us. If we are Mahayana Buddhists, then definitely we are also a bodhisattva. But it doesn't mean we are at the same level as Bodhisattva Aya Manjushri, or Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara or other great Bodhisattvas, because within the Bodhisattvas, there are many, many different levels of Bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas who are in the part of accumulation, and Bodhisattvas who are in the part of application. So these two are ordinary parts. These two are within the samsara. And then there's a noble Bodhisattvas who are beyond this samsara, or who has already gained the liberation from the whole samsara. They are called the noble Bodhisattva, like from the first bhumi to 10th bhumi, according to the Paramitayana tradition. All these Bodhisattvas are noble Bodhisattvas. From first to 10th bhumi are called the noble Bodhisattvas. And within the part of accumulation also, there are different levels of Bodhisattvas. So, although all have the same name called Bodhisattva, but within that, there are many, many different levels of Bodhisattvas. So, Bodhicitta is very important. Enlightenment mind is very important. In the Bodhisattva Charyavatara also, it says, it's like the elixir that transformed the metal into gold. Similarly, this bodhicitta can transform an ordinary being into Buddha. Bodhicitta can make ordinary being into Buddha. Bodhicitta can make ordinary thoughts into the ultimate wisdom or Dhammakaya. So bodhicitta is very, very important. And then we also need to practice the Vajrasattva. Actually, all the suffering that we experience in this samsara is caused by our own negative karma and caused by our own obscurations. And our negative karma and obscurations are the first obstacle for us to progress on the spiritual path or on the Buddhist path. So it is important to purify these negative and obscurations. And in the Sutra and Tantra explains many methods to purify these, but the most excellent method to purify the negative actions and obscurations is to practice the Guru Vajrasattva meditation and recitation with the full 4 powers. Why we have to accumulate merit? Because through the accumulation, then we can progress on the path. So to accumulate merit, we need to purify our own negative karmas and obscurations. And to purify, we must practice the Vajrasattva meditation and recitation, because this is the most excellent method to purify. If you do with the full 4 powers, and if you do with the right visualization or the concentration. Then the next practice is Mandala practice. Generally, through the accumulation of merit heap and wisdom heap, one can realize the true nature of all the phenomena, or one can realize the true view, or the true emptiness, which is not just an empty, but the true nature, which is free from all the extremes. And also, through the accumulation of merit and wisdom heap, one can gain liberation from the whole samsara, and eventually one can attain the Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. And there are infinite methods to accumulate merit, but the most excellent method to accumulate merit is to make the mandala offering. It is said other material offerings, most of them can be stained by the negative actions at the time of collecting these materials, which means to collecting the actual materials or to collect this or to buy this, first we need to make money. And to make money, sometimes we are making money with negative actions by deceiving or by doing something wrong, and then through this one makes money and then buy these materials. So it can be stained by negative actions at the beginning. And at the time of actual offering, it can be stained by the stinginess. And at conclusion, it can be stained by the arrogant that one has done something great, something good. And also, if we do something good in response to gain something back, then it is not right. Then it is not a genuine gift. If we publicize, then it is not right. If we publicize with wrong intention, if you publicize with a worldly intention, like putting in or advertising or publicizing it in, or publicizing it through many through social media, etc., then it is not right. If we are doing it with worldly intention. So through things, it is difficult to accumulate merit, or it is difficult to accumulate the heap, merit or wisdom heap, especially the merit heap. But mandala offering can be done without any great difficulties, and also without any strains in the beginning or in the middle or at the end. So through this, one can accumulate great merit in a short period of time. So mandala offering is the most excellent method to accumulate merit. And when we offer the mandala, we should have the right motivation for the sake of all the sentient beings. And the actual nature of offering is offering our own body and wealth, and the most important is offering our own virtues of 3 times. We are offering these, but in the form of Mount Sumeru, 4 continents, and others. Actually, there are 7 heap mandala offering and 37 heap mandala offering, and like that. There's a short mandala offering or verses, which is called Shingam Nambar Thabade, etc. That is composed by the great Sakya Pentita Kunkai Gyaltsen. And the 37 heap mandala offering, the long mandala offering, is composed by the Drunken Chekil Pakwa. So through these mandala offerings, one can accumulate great merits. And also there are other recitations like Sashi Pichu, Chushi Meto Tam, and others. So we should offer mainly our own virtue deeds in the form of these appearance. And it should be sealed with the right view, thinking that all of these are non-duality of bliss and emptiness. And by offering this, the purpose of offering this is to accumulate merit and wisdom heap for oneself and others, and also to purify all the obstacles like negative actions and obscurations of oneself and others, and also bless oneself and others to attain the Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. So this is the purpose of making the mandala offering. So the main offering is our own virtue. And if we do a good practice, then we can offer such practice or such virtue. That is the most excellent offering. In the ancient time, the great masters, their main disciple is not the one who make the most material offerings, but sometimes those who don't have any material offerings to offer, but they become the most important disciple of the master. So whether one will become a most important or the principal disciple or not depends on our own practice, how we practice, not depends on how much we offer, how great we offer. It depends on material offerings. It depends on virtuous offerings. It depends on spiritual offerings. It depends on offering of our own practice. If we have a good practice to offer, then that can become a good disciple, or that can even become the principal disciple of the great master. So the most important practice, the most important offering is the offering of our own genuine Dharma practice. Then through this, then we can receive the blessings in our mental continuum. We can receive the blessings of our Guru, deities, and Buddhas, and others. Then the next preliminary practice is Guru Yoga. Guru Yoga is very, very important. Actually, in order to attain Buddhahood, we need to realize the true nature of our mind. And the method to realize it, we need to depend on our Guru devotion, and also we need to depend on accumulation of merit heap. So mainly we need to have the Guru devotion. We need to have strong Guru devotion, unshakable Guru devotion. So we need to supplicate to the Guru. The reason behind this is that the merit field, if we combine all the merit field, then we can combine all these merit field into three, which means Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And all these Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha can be combined into Guru. So we should think Guru is a combination of all the triple gem or all the object of refuge. And also in the teaching, it says, from the quality point of view, there's no difference between Guru and Buddha. But for us as a disciple, Guru is even kinder than the Buddha. Because due to our own negative karma and obscurations, we don't have the fortune to see the Lord Buddha through our own eyes directly. And we don't have the fortune to receive Buddha's teaching from Buddha directly. And through this, we don't have the chance to practice Buddha Dharma by receiving teachings directly from the Buddha. But at the moment, through our Guru, we are able to listen to the Buddha's authentic teaching, and we are able to practice, and we are able to receive the Buddha's blessings through our own Guru. For example, in the sky, there's no clouds, and sun is shining brightly, and on the ground, if there's a dry grass, if these three mix together, if these three conditions mix together, but still the energy of the sun will not go directly to the dry grass, or nowadays, like solar system, the energy of for example, nowadays like with hot water, the energy of the sun will not make the water hot directly. But if there's a solar system between the sun and water, then that can pass. The solar system can collect the energy of the sun, and then this solar system can pass the energy of the sun to the water, and through this, the water receives the energy of the sun and water becomes hot. So, but sun cannot make water hot directly. Through solar system can make hot. So similarly, at the moment, we do not have the fortune to receive Buddha's teaching directly, but through the Guru, which has the unbroken lineage of Dharma teaching, through this, one can receive the unbroken lineage of genuine Dharma teaching. And through this, we can hear, study, contemplate, and meditate. And through this, we can gain the inner realization, or we can have the experience, we can have the inner experience. And through this, we can receive a great blessings of Buddha. So, if we think Guru is a combination of all the triple gems, especially Guru is a combination of all the Buddhas, and with such perception, if we supplicate to the Guru, then through this, we can receive great blessings in a short time. So it is important to practice the Guru Yoga. In the past also, there are many great masters who have gained very high realizations through the practice of Guru Yoga. And Sakya Pandita also said, just before entering into the Mahaparinirvana, Sakya Pandita put his own hand on the head of his nephew, the Dzong Chakya Papa, and said, for the eyes of common people, Sakya Pandita acted as an ordinary being. So he said, through the practice of Guru Yoga, he has gained great realizations. And in the future also, the followers, if they practice Guru Yoga, then they will also gain great realizations. Actually, in reality, Sakyapindita is none other than the great Manjushri, or the combination of all the Buddha's wisdom. But for the eyes of common people, he practiced the Guru Yoga and then gained great realizations. And also advise the followers, also advise Choe and also the future followers like us to practice the Guru Yoga. So Guru Yoga is very, very important. So with this, I will conclude my short talk on the importance of preliminary practices in Tibetan Buddhism. So now I will try to answer some of your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness. So we have everybody in the audience. There were a few people who sent the questions, but we are not quite sure whether everybody is in the audience. That in the meantime, we will therefore ask those who are. If time permits, we will address all of them. So we could not go through all the questions in the sequence they were presented. But first of all, can we unmute Jamyang La? Could you ask your question, Jamyang La, please?
Hello, Your Holiness. My
Yes.
question is, do you think it's a good idea to keep a journal of our spiritual life? And if so, what types of things should we write about?
First, it is important, or it's good to have a journal, to keep journal of our spiritual life. In the past, the Kadamba masters, they try to remember what they've done on that particular day. So at the end of the day, try to remember what they've done. If they remember they have done something good, then they put one white stones. And if they have done something bad, then they put one black stones. So then after doing all this, then they rejoice in their good deeds, and they feel great regret on their negative deeds. So through this, they can improve themselves. They can become a better practitioner day by day. So therefore, for us also, we try to remember what we have done. And also, during the daytime, it is important to have the vigilance and conscientiousness all the time. So that can direct our own actions, and that can lead us to more and more positive actions. So when we have positive actions, when we have done positive actions, then without having any arrogance or pride, we just feel happy and rejoice. And if we have done something wrong, then we just feel regret and confess with full four powers.
Renee from Townsville, are you there? Can you please unmute yourself and ask the question, please? Hello, Renee.
Hello.
Please, yes, your turn.
Thank you. Your Holiness, I'm looking to go on a 2-week solitary retreat with a focus on preliminary practices. What would you recommend, or do you have any advice for someone going on a retreat for the first time? And also, how should I structure my day?
as I said before, first and foremost, it is important to have the right motivation, because right motivation will lead us to the right direction. So first and foremost, it is very important to have the right motivation, and also it is important to know why we are doing, why you are doing. As I said before in my teaching, if one thing I need to do because I need to gain merits, because I need to purify my own negative actions, then it becomes, the purpose becomes for oneself. Then it does not become the purpose of helping others. So we should do the practice for the sake of all the sentient beings. And then also doing the practice also, first we need to know what we are doing. First we need to know the meaning of what we are practicing. So anyway, it is important to know what we are practicing, and then we should practice with the right purpose and with the right motivation.
Okay, the next question is, Rachel, can you ask the question from the anonymous person? Can you read the question for the anonymous person? At least the anonymous person wouldn't be here even if they are here. So can you ask that?
Okay. So the question is, I wonder what His Holiness's remedy for anxiety, panic attacks, waves of stress is.
Yes, about the panic or the stress. If we just focus on this, the more you focus on this, then more problem will, the more problem it will become. So, as it is said in the Bodhisattva Avatara by the great Acharya Shantideva, if something that can be fixed, then you don't need to worry. You don't need to feel unhappy. And if something that you cannot fix, if something that cannot be fixed, then there's no point of feeling unhappiness on this. So I think it is important to take this advice in our daily life. So try to overcome the situation. And if there's no way, then there's no point of worrying. Worry or panic is not a way to overcome it. And if there's a way to overcome, then there's no point of having unhappiness. Just follow the way or the method to overcome the happiness. And also, it is important to meditate on the impermanence. So these things can really help us to become a better person to handle or to challenge these kind of situation.
Thank you. Thank you. Rinpoche, shall I read out the other one? Or?
Yeah, the other one from Jessica.
From Jessica. So, Your Holiness, Jessica is from Sakya Nongaling in Italy, the Italian center. She says that when we do the Nondro practice in our center with people that have not received any Anuttara Tantra transmission, we cannot do the Guru Yoga with them as I understood it. To be able to practice the Guru Yoga, do they need an Anuttara Yoga empowerment? That's the first part. And then she says, is it okay with whichever empowerment, or is it necessary to have received the Vajra cause and also path empowerment or even the Lamdre teachings? And then the last part of her question is, I understood that you cannot do the lineage prayer, Sogshe or Lobshe, if you haven't received the Lamdre, can you do the general Sakya lineage prayer instead?
Okay. Generally, according to the Vajrayana tradition, there are many different kinds of Guru Yoga practice. The one that is in the mantra practice, which is written by Dzong Rinpoche, in that text, there is a Guru Yoga, but that Guru Yoga is more common Vajrayana Guru Yoga practice. Although it's Vajrayana tradition, but more common one. So common in the sense that it is not necessary to receive the Vajra empowerment. By receiving any Anuttara Yoga Tantra major empowerment, then one can practice that particular Guru Yoga. Yes, without receiving any empowerment, then one cannot share this, even this Guru Yoga. If one wish to do a collective practice or practice with others, then we need to, then all of them need to receive one of the Anuttara Yoga Tantra major empowerment. And then there's a Guru Yoga practice of Lamde tradition, which also has two outer and inner Guru Yoga practice. To practice the outer Guru Yoga, one must receive the Vajra course empowerment by oneself and others who are doing it with oneself. And to receive the inner Guru Yoga, to do the inner Guru Yoga practice, then one must receive Vajra course and also Vajra path empowerment. So it depends on which Guru Yoga practice that we are doing or that one is doing. But anyway, to do Guru Yoga practice, it is not necessary to receive the whole Lamde teaching. And also, yes, as it is said in the question, if one is doing the general Guru Yoga, that is in the Dzong Rinpoche's mantra text, then to do this without receiving the Vajra empowerment, then one can skip the Chokshi or Lobshi Guru Yoga, lineage Guru prayers, but just do the general lineage Guru prayers. That's fine.
I think we will now fix with the last question. She may not be online, but that's from Eva. Can you read the question, Rachel, please?
Yes. So the last question from Eva, she's from Slovakia. She says, how does one bring the experience of the pure vision into daily life practice?
Actually, the pure vision, the practice of pure vision in our daily life is to inspire, is to inspire us, is to inspire ourselves to do more practice or to put more effort into the practice. For example, a business person, if the business person sees a profit in doing such and such a business, then that will inspire that business person to put effort in doing this particular business. So similarly, reflecting on the pure vision, which is the ultimate qualities of the Buddha. So by reflecting on it, it will inspire us to practice, because these ultimate qualities are the result of Dharma practice. So then we will also know, if you also do the genuine practice, then we can also have such and such ultimate qualities. So the main purpose of reflecting on the pure vision or having the experience of pure vision. Although we cannot have the real experience of pure vision, but we can just imagine such and such experience of pure vision. So through this, it will inspire us to put more and more effort into the practice.
With that, we thank Your Holiness for giving your valuable time, and now we are here to conclude this very wonderful event that His Holiness has kindly come all the way from Rajpur through the sun's beams and radiating your blessings and presence and wonderful messages and teachings to all these practitioners who are all locked down by this terrible pandemic. But this means maybe blessing in disguise. We should do the very practices that we have received from Your Holiness without letting the food mix with poison. We should not do this practice for this short life only, or for oneself, or just physically and verbally, not mentally, but try to do it with the altruistic, heartfelt motivation and true devotion to the Guru as none other than the embodiment of all the triple gem in our life that are so rare to find and meet, even rarer to realize how precious they are, even one has found. And even rarer for those who have found the teachings to actually commit to do the practice at home while feeling the Guru's uncorrupted blessings in one's everyday life. Such kind of right attitude and set of mind should be practiced without distracted by number of the mantras one does, or whether the length of the duration, but quality of the intention, attention, concentration, faith, visualization, and devotion. If we did this, then we will lay a very solid foundation, not only for our personal practice, but also to lay the foundation of Dharma in these various parts of the world by having very solid community to practice together, to honor our teachers, a great gift of these teachings to practice wholeheartedly. We have no better way to offer and thank Your Holiness, but to renew our vows, to be true to our practice and help each other in these times of volatile. And therefore, we hope to have another opportunity in near future for Your Holiness to give similar grace and blessings. So everyone joining today here online, on the Zoom as well on the Facebook, thank you very much for having your time. Of course, it's a great blessing for all of you being able to hear directly from His Holiness direct voice without having to travel even to Sydney, even to Bangkok, let alone all the way to Rajpur. Being able to see His Holiness, this teaching is thanks to the modern technology, and I'm sure there are ways to improve the setups here and maybe back in India. So we should all look into how we can make that happen, the technological point of view. And so with this, I'd like to thank all the technical team who are creating and supporting this and organizing this. And particularly, we wish Your Holiness and all Your Holy Father and family to live long and continue to remain for the benefit of all sentient beings. And we will, in the meantime, do the dedication of merits so that we will be worthy of Your holy time that You have given to us, and do these practices for the benefit of holding this pure lineage that has come so long from Tibet, from early 11th century till today. Your Kon blessed family has so gallantly and efficiently held the lineage together through true, genuine practice as the lineage itself warrants. So we are so fortunate to be part of that. It's even better if we practice that on our own and receive each other's help and support, and to maintain these practices. So with this, today is a wonderful new moon day. According to Buddhist calendar, it's only a day after the monastics have finished their rainy season retreat. And so it's a very auspicious day that we could receive this teaching from Your Holiness. Maybe not only realize the importance of the preliminary practice, but actually do them. Not only do them, but feel it right in the substance without just mere form form and show or number. So that has been really gist of what His Holiness teaching has been, in not becoming too distracted by the number and the form and so on, but genuinely counting those that are really consistently form, substance, intention, attention, visualization, and not count only just form, but those which are really that really are countables, not just empty beads, not just shiny beads, but the beads that has actually some substance. So with this, we will now thank Your Holiness on behalf of everybody, and may you live long. And we now will do the dedication merits. Thank you very much, everyone. So you should have a prayer there with you. If you have, please join me. O Zonamande Damje Zebanye Domne Nyebe Dana Bamje Yega Naje Balon Rubaye Zebe Zol Rawa Jo Bade Mere Mewe Owaka Dade Fame Zenge Omneje May I libere Robin from the ocean above the Zenete Tejo Tamje Renje Nyendele Dage Sonamandaye Kandoba Tenen Droge Tejo Tambe Je Renje Jema Mebe Nejo Je Herienda Mahaya Natije Wadewa Mere Davagru Meo Bimbe Gansden Leveza Tuhoda Mahayana Jije Jamba Bawe Jidran Jamba Da Gundo Zombu Deya Dejendo Teda Grinje Jesu Daloje Gewan De Dadamje Raudu Ngo Kore Jeman Jije Ne Ode Eza Mandra Bajra De Lawa Following all the example, I shall dedicate all the mere Chanju Zemjorim Boje, my Jebanam Juruji, Jebanyamba Mebaya, Kone Gondo, Pewajo, Meda excellent body Chida, Table where it has not yet done so, where it has been bomb it angry, freely without degeneration. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Taşidelerimi çıkıza şebete.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Holiness.
Okay.
Please, I miss your father, everyone.
Thank you.
And just a note to everyone as well that there is a book available called The Clear Lamp on the Path of Liberation. Some of you may already have a copy, but it's an excellent book on the preliminary practices of Tibetan Buddhism. So if you wanted to purchase a copy, we can send around the contact details for that. And that was translated by Lama Choe Rinpoche and many of his students over many years. So it's a great resource to have. Thank you everyone for joining in today and donating. We really appreciate it. Thank you.